What's up, DAW Nation? My name is Wyatt Troy, and I want to welcome you to episode 47 of Behind the DAW, where we interview music producers, artists, music industry experts, and people of that nature on an emotional, philosophical, artistic, and music business basis. But as you noticed, there is no guest this week, but we do have an absolutely huge announcement. For the last year, AU5 and I have been working on this extremely huge and in-depth Ableton sound design course. We have put so much work into it, and he's been on tour. I moved across the state with my family. We've been doing all kinds of stuff, and so it has been really intense trying to get this done. But I am so stoked. I'm so honored. I'm so proud. I'm so happy to be able to announce that today, March 8th, 2019, is the launch day. I mean, dude, this course has 5.5 hours of pure sound design wisdom using only Ableton live devices. We show you some of the craziest techniques, some of the most innovative processes that we could ever come up with. We brought Ableton to its knees, showing you how to evoke some of the craziest sounds. Also in this course, you get all the instrument racks, effects racks, and project files, and we even included a full walkthrough and breakdown of AU5's newest EP, Energize. We've already sent the course to a bunch of our colleagues in the industry, people like Clockvice, Vorso, Bloom, Fitch, Multiplier, Josh from Modestep, Grabbits, Crywolf, Panda Eyes, Diamond Eyes, Tassione, Lindsay Sterling's producer, Matthew Steeper, who is Halien's husband, and a whole bunch of others. And the feedback that we have received has been unanimous. This course is absolutely amazing. This is exactly what someone needs. It doesn't matter on what level they are, if they're just barely entering the sound design realm, or if they're seasoned and they want to know extremely advanced processes and techniques. This course, I can wholeheartedly say, is for you. The course is currently priced at $150, but for a very limited time, you can get a $50 discount off by clicking the link in the description. That's right, only $100, right? AU5 charges $250 for a private lesson, and that's for 1 hour, and you probably wouldn't get the effects racks, instrument racks, and project files that he went over in the session. So I'm saying this is a steal of a deal. $100 for 5.5 hours and all the bonus material. But also, if you're on the fence about taking this course, no worries. We have a free mini AU5 Ableton sound design course where you can get your feet wet and see if the course is for you. Again, there is a link in the description for all of these things. Make sure to go check them out. But really what I wanted to focus on in this episode was my journey in this last year of creating this course with AU5 and ultimately finding financial stability in the music industry. Which beckons the question, can you, the listener, make a living off the music industry? The answer is absolutely 110% yes. There is no shadow of a doubt in my mind that you can make a living in the industry and doing exactly what you want to do, okay? As many of you know, and especially those people that have taken private lessons from me, I absolutely refuse to tour. I do. 110% I refuse it. The reason why is because I have a family at home. I refuse for my son or my daughter to grow up and be like, wait, is dad coming back next week or next month? Or, when are we going to see him next? Absolutely not. I was there when both my kids were born. I was there when they both started walking. I was there when they both got their first haircut, when they said their first words, when they took a bite of their first food. I was there for everything. And that is how it's going to stay. I refuse to think that the only way that I could make money in the music industry was performing. I refused it. I thought that was absolutely asinine, all right? That made me have to get really creative, all right? I know that music is what I'm supposed to do in this life. It is not only it's not only a passion, it's not only a hobby, it's not only something that I'm interested in. I would define it, if we're getting really personal here, I would define it as a spiritual calling. It is something so deep and so embedded inside of me that I can't run away from it. So it seemed that I had these two conflicting kind of mantras in my life at the time, which was I refused to be away from my family, and I knew that I was supposed to do music, right? Well, I'm here to tell you that there are so many avenues that one can make music in this industry, all right? I am living proof of this, right? I am living off of In the DAW and Behind the DAW right now, and I'm providing for my family. Like, we just bought a house in Salt Lake City. I'm telling you, it works. There are ways for you to make money. If you don't want to tour, if you don't want to travel, that's completely fine. If you do, high five, go for it. There is plenty of money there, plenty of opportunity, plenty of room to grow in that industry. If that's what you want to do, high five. And the beautiful thing is, if that is what you wanted to do, or if that is what you want to do, the path to doing that is so laid out. It's so clear. It's ridiculous. There are so many people that are doing that right now, that exact same path. You can just see what they're doing. You can just mimic what they're doing, and eventually you'll get similar results. That is the beautiful part of it. Really, the hard part is for us that want to be in the music industry, but do not want to do that, right? We just want to create music. We don't want to travel. We don't want to perform. What about us? What about the people like that? Well, dude, there are so many ways for someone to make money, right? So I'm going to talk about some of the ways in the last year that I was able to make money, and eventually we're going to be building up to the course, right? To me releasing the AU5 Ableton Sound Design course. Okay, so the first way, the initial way that I started making money that absolutely blew my mind on how easy it was Patreon. My gosh, I cannot give enough thanks to Patreon. I'm serious. Patreon is the reason why I was able to get In the DAW and Behind the DAW off the ground, right? And it was incredibly simple. All I had to do was to keep doing what I was doing. It was just to be consistent with releasing the content that I had, and the people that supported me, I just gave them exclusive content. That was it. That was absolutely it. And I know I have patrons listening to this right now, and they know what I'm talking about. Now, the question is, if you're a music producer, how do you start a Patreon? Well, you need to get a little bit clever. But the beautiful thing is that people have already done it. There are already so many musicians out there that are living off their Patreon, and they're making dang good money off of it too. So if you want to know, because I could give you hints and tips and all that kind of stuff about how to make it off Patreon. But, the question is, I don't know if what I did or my advice is going to work for you and your needs and what you do. So if I was you, I would go to Patreon and I would make a spreadsheet of all the people that are similar to you that are making a lot of money off Patreon, and then just mimic them. That's it. I mean, it's that simple, right? Now, I'm not saying you're going to get a bunch of money right off the bat, but you can get enough money going so that you can start, paying for bills with Patreon. So you can start investing in other parts or in other businesses or in other avenues that you want to go down. That's completely fine. The next avenue that I want to talk about of where I've made, quite a bit of money is through private lessons. Now, this is a little bit harder because, a lot of producers try to do this. A lot of producers, when they don't have a lot of credits, they don't have a lot of experience, they try to do this. Now, I want to say that you can teach people. I don't know how much you're going to be able to charge with not having a lot of experience, a lot of credits, or how sticky those students are going to be, so to say, but you can do it. But what I want to talk about is that, yes, there are people out there. When you have a skill, there are people out there that are willing to pay for you, to pay you to teach them something. That is completely 100% legitimate. And there are so many people in the world that want to know how to do this. And that's fine. Like, that is completely fine. That is fantastic. There are other jobs that you can do. You can get a job at a recording studio. Actually, something that I would highly encourage you to do is to get a job somewhere that is not music related, but can benefit your music career. So for example, one of the things that I did was I became a social media marketer. That was one of the greatest decisions I ever made for my career. It wasn't technically directed towards my music career in that it wasn't teaching me anything musical or it wasn't making me a better producer, but it taught me skills to be able to learn how to leverage the internet to eventually make money. So I'd highly encourage you to do that. The next step that I want to talk about, which is an extension of, selling your talent, selling your knowledge, was the course, right? So selling courses, selling information that you have is so profitable. It is so beautiful too, because there are people out there. I can guarantee you think about anything that you're good at, like any talent that you're good at, and there are people out there that want to know how to do that. I mean, this could be anything. This could be anything from cooking to, how to publicly speak. I know this guy. I'm not joking when I say this. He makes 15 grand a month selling videos showing people how to build chicken coops. He doesn't even sell the chicken coops. He shows people how to build them. And that's it. That is freaking mind-blowing. So I promise you that there are people out there that would pay to be able to, take the knowledge or to be able to learn the knowledge that you have. And so I want to talk about the course because, I've been producing for the last 10 years with doing In the DAW and Behind the DAW. I've learned so much from some of the biggest people in the world. And plus AU5, he's been producing longer than I have, and he has insane sound design knowledge. And so I want to talk about the process of how we did this. We came together, we collaborated, we created this course, and now it is a living, breathing thing. It is launching right now. And so what happened, the way that I initially did that was, I want to talk about, very first off, how I came into contact with AU5, okay? And how I built a relationship with him. Because I think, obviously, his name is on the course. He put so much work into it. I don't know if this course would do as well if his name wasn't on there. In fact, I would put money that it would not do as well if his name wasn't on there, because he deserves it. He has the clout. There's a reason why people know him. And so I want to talk about collaborating with bigger people and how to get in contact with them. And we've talked about this throughout the podcast, but it comes, the very first part of it comes from bringing value to people. I remember when I was going to Icon Collective and I was helping schedule kind of like online masterclasses where we would invite producers to come and meet with us online because we were the online students, and we would interview them. And I remember that I was interviewing Fractal, Brady Wiggins, and him and AU5 were really good friends. And I remember we were in the interview, and I just remember saying this. I didn't really think anything would come from it, but I was like, hey, if you want AU5 to join this interview with us, I'm totally cool with that. And he's like, heck yeah, I'll text him right now. He texted him, and within 2 minutes, AU5 was in the interview with us. And so, I met AU5 there. It was great. He saw my face. He learned who I was, and we started to forge a relationship like that. Now, how would that apply to you? The way that it would apply to you is that you need to get in the same room as the people that you want to work with, whether that's at a conference, whether that's at a school, whether that's, taking a private lesson from someone, in any fashion that is appropriate to you and that is respectful to the person that you want to work with. I would highly encourage you to do that. Now, what happened next was I started bringing more and more and more value to Austin, to AU5. And so whenever I came across something, whether it was a plugin or a video or a podcast or a tip or a trick or whatever it was, right? I kept bringing value to him. I kept bringing value over and over and over again. And I wouldn't even ask for anything. The only thing that you could arguably say I asked for was a private lesson. But I paid for that. So it was still bringing value to him, right? It was still bringing money to him, which was value, right? But you could see that I forged this relationship on bringing value. Now, I'm not saying that I was the only one who brought the value. Obviously, he brought the value too. Austin is an absolutely amazing person. I wouldn't have worked with him unless he was, right? He is an absolutely incredible person. So he kept bringing value as well. So as we started, kind of forging a relationship in a way, this is when In the DAW was just at its very inception. And so I asked him if he would like to come on the show. He thought it was awesome. He knew that we were in our humble beginnings, but he knew that, I was a good guy and that I kept bringing him value. And so he's like, you know what? Yeah, I'll hook you up. I'll come on the show. To this date, that first interview that we did with Austin on In the DAW, which was episode 10, it was when we broke down his episode Arise. That is the episode that has brought in the vast amount of views for the channel. That is the highest watched In the DAW. And then we did a second episode with him, about a couple months later. I don't know how long it was, right? But him and I, we kept in contact. I kept bringing value to him. He kept bringing value to me. I helped him a lot on the social media side with teaching him stuff, all kinds of stuff. But we forged a very beneficial, value-focused relationship. And that is what I want you to do. You should find someone that you want to work with, and you should keep bringing value to them over and over and over again. You don't need to be pushy. You don't need to be annoying. It doesn't need to be, hey, did you check out that resource that I sent? Hey, did you check out that resource that I sent? Why aren't you using that resource that I sent? It's not like that. It's just, I can give you another example. Crywolf, Justin Phillips. I went to his show one time, and I was in Chicago, and I went to one of his shows, and I noticed things in his show that would benefit, that he would benefit from. I messaged him and just told him about him. He loved it. He loved the value that I brought to him. He thought it was absolutely amazing. Well, guess what? I kept bringing value to him. when Ableton 10 came out, I learned all the new features and I hit him up and I said, hey, I know you're busy. I know you're touring. I know you're doing all this kind of stuff, but I just want to let you know that Ableton 10 came out. I know you're an Ableton user. And so if you want, we could meet for an hour and I could tell you all of the new features and I could show you how to incorporate them in your new workflow. He loved that. We met, I brought value, and I've just been bringing value, more and more value over and over and over again. I've wanted to work with Justin for years. And so now, I text him and he came and stayed with me for 3 days. It was incredible. So back to AE5 though, build a relationship that is built off of value. Then that is when I brought the idea of the course. And I brought up this idea last year. Like I brought up this idea right when my son was born to him, right? And he was like, you know what, this is really great. I'm just really busy right now. Let's revisit this. And I was totally fine with that. And so the next thing I want to talk about is patience. It is okay. And I know sounds so cliche, bring value first, then have patience, but I'm serious. Bring value first and then bring something up. But if it doesn't happen right away, that's totally fine. That does not mean it will not happen. You have patience, and then you bring it up strategically in the future. Okay. After he got done with tour and a bunch of other stuff, doing shows and whatnot, I brought it up again and I brought the idea to him. I was like, hey, what I think would be really, really cool is if we did a course together. It wouldn't take that much work on your part. And we could focus it around insane sound design that is just within Ableton Live. He loved it. I said, hey, let's just hop in the DAW this week. Let's just block off like a couple hours and let's just hop in the DAW and let's do it. And he loved it. He's like, yeah, let's do this. This is fantastic. So I went to Jimmy John's and I bought like a 16-inch sandwich and I went to my studio and we hopped on a Zoom call and we recorded it. And I just stayed in there all day. And we recorded a whole bunch of the course, right? We didn't record all of it, but we recorded a bunch of it. And so once we had all that, then the real work started, right? Because then I had to edit it. I had to put the videos together. I had to edit the audio. I had to split all of the channels, because it sucks. Because I had to separate my voice from his voice, from the audio, from the audio from his DAW. Oh man, that was fun. And then, we had more material that we wanted to do. We had to do intros and outros. We had to make ads. We had to do an in the DAW. We did a full walkthrough of this EP Energize. It was this whole concept that has taken a year because, I have my own things that I need to get done. He had his own things that he had to get done. He was doing shows. He also went on another tour. He had release schedules. I moved to Salt Lake City. Me, my wife, and my kids, we moved to Salt Lake City. It was like this whole big concept. But after a year, we were able to get it done. Now, as far as like the nitty gritty details, I don't know if, if you right now, if you want to know that kind of stuff, but just so that you know, like we had to do a lot of work on figuring out how to host the podcast, or not the podcast, sorry, how to host the course, where to do it, where to sell it, how to sell it, all that kind of stuff. There's a couple of podcasts that really, really helped me out. The very first one, and probably the biggest one, was Online Marketing Made Easy by Amy Porterfield. That was so insightful and helpful. It helped me understand how to sell courses online, and especially around things that were things that I knew how to do. And so we ended up going with a website called Thinkific. And oh my gosh, dude, this journey has been insane. Let me just say that this journey has been insane. But I want you to know that all those kind of questions, there is a YouTube video and a podcast out there that can answer basically any question that you have. You just need to know how to find it. But now here we are after we've done all this work. We've sent it out to a bunch of people, like I mentioned, in the industry that we have relationships with. We've gotten feedback on them. It has been quite the journey, but here we are. It's launch day. We're ready to launch it. We're ready to send out into the world. And I'm telling you right now, some of the things that we talk about in this course, like, go so far outside of like the normal box. It is just insane. It's absolutely insane. It is bringing Ableton to its knees, just pushing it so far that it starts evoking some of the craziest sounds. Like what? So, for example, like to give you some insight into what I'm talking about. One of the techniques that we talk about in the course is multi-band vocoding the vocoder, right? Just saying that out loud is like, oh my gosh. Another one is multi-band frequency shifting. Another one is multi-band saturation, but not, I know that like Saturn does multi-band saturation, but this is taken way too far, and it's beautiful. One of them is that we have just like we have this one rack that has over 50 devices in it. I'm telling you, man, some of the things that we did in that course was absolutely insane. It's basically criminal in the context of sound design. If there was hate laws against the DAW, we might have broken a few of them. But nonetheless, guys, I want you to know, as I'm kind of wrapping this up, kind of wrapping up the story of bringing this course to life and finding financial stability within this industry, I promise that it is real. I promise that it is possible. I promise that there is a very beautifully carved out path for you. You just need to go and figure out where that is, and then just take the first step. Just take the first step, right? You don't have to make it perfect. You just have to get it started, okay? DAW Nation, thank you so much for listening to this episode, especially because I'm not going to edit this episode. It is raw, it is real, mostly because I'm going to be up for like the rest of the night editing this and the other episode for In the DAW to put it out, and I got way too much work. But I would highly encourage you to take what I have talked about in this podcast seriously. There is a route for you. You can have financial stability with whatever you want to do in the music industry, with whatever your needs are, whatever your goals are, whatever your desires are, your passions. I promise that there is a route for you. You just need to find out where that route is, okay? So again, I would highly encourage you to check out that course, even if you just check out the free version of it so you can start to see the potential that comes from it. And I would highly encourage you, if you do want to take the course, hop on that discount, man. $50 off, okay? That is a third of the price of what it is, okay? So again, DAW Nation, thank you so much for checking out this episode of Behind the DAW, and we'll catch you next week.